Darkness Rising, Part 1. Transformers Prime wastes no time. Within its opening minutes, it makes one thing abundantly clear. This isn't just another kid's cartoon about giant robots. Instead of a heroic victory, we're greeted with tragedy. Cliffjumper discovers a hidden energon mine, unaware the Starscream has carefully lured him into a trap. Surrounded by vehicons, he never actually stands a chance. Optimus Prime, RC, and Bumblebee rush to his rescue, but they are too late. Starscream executes Cliffjumper without hesitation. And right here, Prime shows just how mature it tends to be. Killing off a major Autobot within the first 5 minutes was a bold statement that very few fans saw coming at the time. The quiet funeral that follows reminds us that this war has real consequences, while also deepening RC's already painful trauma of losing those closest to her.
If Cliff's gone, standing around here sulking won't bring him back. So unless anyone minds, I think I'll get back to protecting humankind.
The story then shifts to Jack Darby, an ordinary teenager working at KO Burger. After finishing his shift, he notices a sleek blue motorcycle parked outside, and he can't resist taking it for a ride. But within moments, vehicles discover them. What begins as an innocent dream ride quickly turns into a desperate chase across the city, eventually leading Jack beneath a bridge where Raph Esquivel is playing with his RC car. The Decepticons catch up and launch another attack, but with Bumblebee, RC, and a perfectly timed arrival from Bulkhead, the Autobots manage to drive them back. For a brief moment, it feels like the danger has passed. The following day, Bumblebee and RC return to pick up Jack and Raph. Here we begin to witness the bond forming between Bumblebee and Raph, a friendship that feels special from the very beginning, largely because Raph is the only human who truly understands Bumblebee despite his damaged voice. Meanwhile, Jack opens up to RC, admitting that he doesn't feel worthy of being part of something this important. Their conversation is suddenly interrupted by Miko Nakadai, who accidentally discovers the Autobot's secret. In an instant, she too is pulled into a war far bigger than herself.
Scrap.
Back at the Autobot base, Optimus Prime gives the three teenagers a brief history lesson. He explains the ancient war between the Autobots and the Decepticons, and how Megatron was once not his greatest enemy, but his closest ally. However, their visions for Cybertron's future couldn't have been more different. What began as a shared dream eventually descended into a devastating civil war that tore their entire world apart. And that's what makes this premiere so memorable. It doesn't just introduce its human cast or establish the relationships they'll build with the Autobots. It lays the foundation for a much greater story, one about friendship, betrayal, sacrifice, and the scars left behind by war. Because in the episode's final moments, Megatron returns. And with him comes the same darkness that once consumed Cybertron, now setting its sights on Earth. Darkness Rising, Part 2. If the first episode proved that Transformers Prime wasn't afraid to kill, the second proves it isn't afraid to embrace horror. The episode opens inside an abandoned energon mine, where Megatron introduces Starscream to the terrifying power of Dark Energon, the blood of Unicron himself. To demonstrate its potential, he injects it into Cliffjumper's lifeless body. Moments later, the fallen Autobot rises once again. But this isn't resurrection. Cliffjumper has become nothing more than a mindless corpse, driven solely by Dark Energon. It's a chilling opening that pushes the series even further into surprisingly dark territory. Back at Autobot base, we're introduced to Agent Fowler, the government's connection to Team Prime. Before long, Ratchet detects something impossible. Cliffjumper's life signals have suddenly returned. Refusing to ignore even the smallest chance that his friend still might be alive, Optimus immediately leads the Autobots to the source. The signal leads them straight back to the energon mine. Without hesitation, Team Prime fights its way through waves of vehicles until RC finally reaches Cliffjumper. But hope quickly turns into heartbreak. Standing before her is only the shattered remains of her former partner, his body grotesquely torn apart and corrupted by Dark Energon. In that moment, RC realizes there was never anyone left to save. Rather than finishing the battle, Megatron orders a retreat. He has something far greater planned for Optimus. Despite Starscream protests, Megatron commands him to destroy the mine, forcing the Autobots into a desperate escape through the ground bridge as the entire mountain erupts behind them in a spectacular explosion. Back at the base, the team struggles to process what they witnessed. RC suddenly collapses, and Ratchet discovers traces of an unknown purple substance on her arm. After collecting a sample, he immediately orders her into decontamination, realizing the Dark Energon may be even more dangerous than they first imagined. The episode briefly slows down with the quiet conversation between Jack and his mother, concerned about her son and especially his sudden obsession with the motorcycle. She unknowingly highlights something that the audience has already begun to notice. Jack no longer talks about RC like she is just a machine. He speaks about her almost as if she was a real person, showing how quickly the bond between humans and Autobots is beginning to grow. Meanwhile, aboard the Nemesis, Starscream confidently assumes the Autobots couldn't have survived the explosion. Megatron immediately dismisses the idea. He knows Optimus far too well to believe something so simple could end him. Instead, his focus remains on mastering Dark Energon. In one of the episode's most unforgettable scenes, Megatron tears a shard from the massive Dark Energon crystal he recovered from deep space, and ignoring Starscream's desperate warnings, drives it directly into his own spark. It's a brutal ending that perfectly captures who Megatron is becoming. He's no longer simply using Dark Energon. He's allowing it to consume him. Darkness Rising, Part 3. By the third episode, Transformers Prime finally gives its character a brief moment to breathe, as Jack, Rev, and Miko begin settling into life alongside the Autobots. Their relationships with Team Prime starts to feel increasingly natural, but the sense of normality doesn't last for long. Back at the Autobot base, Ratchet is suddenly attacked by a grotesque creature born from Dark Energon contamination. Optimus quickly crushes it beneath his foot, but the incident confirms the Autobots' worst fears. Whatever happened to Cliffjumper wasn't an isolated case. Dark Energon isn't simply bringing the dead back to life, it's mutating them into something far more horrifying. Aboard the Nemesis, Megatron finally reveals his true objective. Rather than building a new army, he intends to resurrect the one that has been waiting beneath Earth's surface for thousands of years, the fallen Cybertronians left behind from the ancient war. Even Starscream begins questioning his leader's sanity, quietly suggesting to Soundwave that Megatron's obsession with Dark Energon may have driven him down a dangerous path. Autobots realizing exactly where Megatron is heading, Optimus and Ratchet leave immediately to intercept him, entrusting the base to RC, but after departing on patrol with Bumblebee, Comet is reluctantly left to Bulkhead. That's when Agent Fowler unexpectedly arrives at the base, only to discover that 3 human teenagers now know the Autobots' greatest secret. Before he can even process what he's seen, he's ambushed by a laser beak and manages to send a distress signal before being captured. Bulkhead heads out to rescue him, and Miko secretly follows through the ground bridge, with Jack and Rev going after her. Meanwhile, aboard the Nemesis, Fowler refuses to give Starscream any useful information, responding with sarcasm even as he's being interrogated. It's a surprisingly humorous exchange that offers a brief break from the increasingly dark tone.
But I need to ask you something first.
Yes, I'm listening.
I got an issue with the customer service around here. Can I speak to the manager?
I make the decisions here. I am in charge. Bring the prod.
Everything ultimately builds toward the episode's final moments. Deep within an ancient Cybertronian field, Optimus and Ratchet finally come face to face with Megatron for the first time in years. There are no grand speeches, no celebration, only the quiet tension between 2 former brothers who chose opposite paths. Then Megatron plunges a shot of Dark Energon into the ground. Moments later, the earth begins to tremble. and an army of long-dead Cybertronians rises from beneath the surface. Darkness Rising, Part 4. Episode 4 picks up exactly where the previous one left. As Megatron drives dark energon into the ancient battlefield, the fallen Cybertronians begin crawling their way back to the surface. For the first time, the Decepticon leader stands before an army that refuses to die. In a brief but powerful monologue, Megatron describes the overwhelming feeling of finally being connected to his soldiers. It's the first glimpse that this power is changing not only his body, but also his mind. Knowing the odds are impossible, Ratchet quietly assures Optimus that he will never leave his side. It's a small moment, but one that perfectly reflects the unwavering loyalty that has always defined Team Prime. Elsewhere, Bulkhead races to rescue Agent Fowler while protecting Jack, Raph, and Miko from pursuing Decepticons. In classic Transformers Prime fashion, the tension is broken by a bit of a humor as Bulkhead realizes Miko secretly followed him once again. And as he jokingly points out, she's thrown up all over his floor mats. Which is later on gonna become a running joke in this show. Anyways, the situation quickly spirals out of control. Jack and Raph are captured by Vehicons before RC and Bumblebee arrive just in time to turn the battle around. At the same time, aboard the Nemesis, Starscream continues interrogating Fowler, but the veteran agent refuses to give him anything useful, answering even torture with sarcasm, because he's kinda going crazy because all of the electricity that has been going through his body for like the last 10 minutes of this episode. While the Autobots move deeper into the Decepticon warship to rescue Fowler, the children are left alone on the bridge. A brief argument breaks out as Jack defends his decision to save Miko, while she insists she never asked for rescuing in the first place. But their attention is soon drawn to something far more important: classified Decepticon schematics. Even after a close encounter with a Vehicon, the three manage to secure the data before escaping. The rescue itself comes down to a tense standoff. Starscream threatens to execute Fowler if the Autobots take another step. But thanks to Fowler's own perfectly timed outburst, the distraction gives Team Prime the opening they need to save him and escape the Nemesis. Meanwhile, Optimus and Ratchet continue fighting through wave after wave of undead Cybertronians. Eventually, Optimus reaches Megatron himself. Standing above the battlefield, the two former brothers exchange only a few words, but they define the entire conflict ahead. Optimus declares that as long as light energon flows through his body, Megatron will never prevail. Megatron simply smiles, replying that dark energon now flows through his own. It's a chilling contrast that becomes one of the central ideas of the entire first season. Back at the Autobot base, Ratchet explains the horrifying nature of the undead army, while Optimus reprimands both his team and the children for their reckless decisions. Although everyone accepts responsibility, Miko quickly changes the subject by revealing the Decepticon data they recovered from the Nemesis. But the episode saves the strongest emotional moment for Jack. Overwhelmed by everything he's experienced, he admits that he was never meant for a life like this. If every day with Autobots is going to be this dangerous, then maybe he doesn't belong here at all. As he quietly leaves the base, RC tries to stop him. Jack pauses for only a moment before softly saying,
"I know you don't exist."
It's a heartbreaking line that captures how desperately he's trying to convince himself that he can still return to a normal life. The episode closes with two revelations. Megatron harshly reminds Starscream that no one but himself will ever have the honor of defeating Optimus. And back at the Autobot base, Ratchet finally deciphers the stolen schematics. They aren't ordinary military plans, they're blueprints for a space bridge. In that moment, Team Prime realizes Megatron's true objective. He isn't trying to raise an army on Earth, He's trying to bring the dead of Cybertronians to Earth instead. Darkness Rising, Part 5. The final chapter of Darkness Rising opens with Optimus reflecting on the impossible task before him. If Megatron succeeds in bringing dark energy onto Cybertron, the planet's countless fallen warriors will become his army, and with it, Earth itself will fall. Before the battle begins, the series gives us one last quiet moment between Jack and RC. Jack insists that no one can convince him to stay, but RC admits she didn't come to change his mind. She simply couldn't leave him without saying goodbye. It's a subtle scene that perfectly captures the bond these two have built in only a handful of episodes. Back at the base, Ratchet pinpoints the location of the Decepticon space bridge. Miko questions how they could possibly reach something positioned beyond Earth's atmosphere, but Optimus knows they have no other choice. If they can't stop Megatron from reaching Cybertron, everything they fought for will be lost. At that very moment, Jack returns, finally choosing to stand beside the Autobots. Without another word, Team Prime rolls out, clinging to the outer hull of the massive orbital space bridge. The Autobots arrive just as the Decepticons move into position. Optimus Prime declares that nothing will pass through the bridge, not in and not out. Meanwhile, aboard the Nemesis, Megatron remains as confident as ever. He tells Starscream that unlike his first lieutenant, Optimus Prime never fails to meet his expectations. Certain that Soundwave has everything under control, the Decepticons begin aligning Earth satellites to establish a direct link with Cybertron. As the battle erupts outside, Raph, Jack and Miko find themselves inside a satellite control station. Believing they're finally safe, they begin redirecting the satellite network to interfere with Soundwave's calculations, completely unaware that the silent Decepticon is separating from the very next room. When Soundwave discovers them, a tense struggle follows as he seizes control of the system. The children manage to delay him, but not before he completes the transmission. Starscream activates the space bridge. Megatron throws a massive fragment of the dark energy through the portal, sending it crashing on the surface of Cybertron. In that moment, the crystal embedded with his own spark begins to glow. The corruption has spread beyond himself. Now it has reached his homeworld. Realizing there's no way to stop the invasion unless the bridge is destroyed, Ratchet reluctantly accepts a painful truth. The space bridge is the only way home, but saving Earth must come first. Guided by the schematics recovered by the children, Team Prime races through the station, rerouting the energy flow that powers the entire structure. At the heart of the bridge, Optimus confronts Megatron once again. Megatron mocks him, claiming that no one could possibly defeat an army that cannot die. Optimus doesn't disagree. He knows he can't destroy the army. He only has to destroy the bridge. While Optimus keeps Megatron occupied in the first truly legendary duel of the series, the others complete Ratchet's plan. Megatron realizes too late that the battle was only a distraction. He rushes to stop the Autobots, managing to strike RC, but the Energon has already been redirected. The space bridge begins to collapse as explosions consume the structure. Starscream desperately pulls the Nemesis away, urging Megatron to retreat before it's too late. But Megatron refuses to abandon the army he sacrificed everything to create. Moments later, the bridge erupts in a massive explosion, seemingly taking the Decepticon leader with it. Back at the Autobot base, Team Prime finally has a chance to breathe. Jack quietly tells RC, "You are my first ride," speaking about her with the same affection someone might reserve for their first love. Agent Fowler thanks the Autobots for saving his life, and Optimus closes the 5-part premiere with a speech that perfectly defines the series.
Without a means of leaving this world, we Autobots take strength in the bonds we have forged with our 3 young friends. True warriors. If not in body, then in spirit. My name is Optimus Prime, and I send this message. Though we did not choose to be of Earth, it would seem that we are here to stay. If you approach this planet with hostile intent, know this. We will defend ourselves. We will defend humanity. We will defend our home.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end, I truly appreciate it. It means a lot to me. This video took me dozens of hours to create, so any kind of support would really mean the world. Even though there are thousands of AI channels making similar content, I'm not, and I never will be. Every video on this channel is made with real-time effort and passion. Thank you again to everyone for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye.